Okay, today I'll be teaching you how to write equations and inequalities. You remember on the previous lesson that the difference between an equation and an equation and an expression or an inequality is that expressions don't have equal signs. So this is an expression, and this is an equation. It's equal to something. And inequalities are very similar to them, only the difference between an equation and inequality is that they have greater than and less than signs. All right? So that's the difference between an equation and an equality. And you'll hear those words a lot in my class, so make sure you understand the difference between them. Before we get started on that, let's talk about some of these words. The symbol equal sign means equal to, obviously, and it means same as. You probably already know these two symbols, the less than sign and the greater than sign. Now, most teachers don't teach this, but I do. When you see that greater than sign, I want you to think of it as an arrow. And the arrow always points to the smaller number. So the smaller number would be here. When you see the less hand sign, it's an arrow pointing to this number, so this has to be the smaller number. So there's lots of ways I've heard teachers teach this, but the best way to teach them is think the arrow points to the smaller number, the arrow points to the bigger number. Okay? I'm sorry, the arrow points to the smaller number this way, so this number would be smaller. The arrow points this way, so this number would be smaller. Okay? And then we have two new words, the less than or equal sign and the greater than or equal sign. Those two you probably haven't seen before. But those two words basically mean if I had, for example, let's say greater than or equal to 2, then I'm saying if I said x is greater than or equal to 2, what I'm saying is any number that is equal to 2 or bigger than 2 works. For example, 3. 3 is greater than or equal to 2. 4 is greater than or equal to 2. 2 is greater than or equal to 2. If I had this symbol, x is greater than 2, in this case, 2 does work because if I put a 2 in for x, 2 is greater than or equal to 2. That's true. But if I say 2 is greater than 2, that's false. So that's very important. For 2 is greater than or equal to 2, that's true. But if I say 2 is greater than 2, that's false. So when you see the equal sign, you're saying the number that it's on is also working also. Okay? Now let's go to these words. Fewer than. If I say, the best way I can teach you to do these is use cookie math, okay? If I say go to the kitchen and get fewer than 2 cookies, how many cookies can you get? Can you get 2 cookies? No, I said fewer than 2, so it has to be less than 2. The number of cookies has to be less than 2. Go get fewer than 2 cookies. If I say go get more than 2 cookies, so if I say cookies is more than 2, what does that mean? If I say go get more than 2 cookies, how many cookies are you going to get? Can you get 2? No, because more than means bigger than that number. So how many cookies are you going to get? Go get more than 2 cookies. The answer to that question is all the cookies, obviously, right? If they give me a chance to get more than 2 cookies, I'm going to get as many cookies as I'm allowed, which means all of them. Now the next one. If I say go to the kitchen and get at the most 3 cookies, so if I say at the most is... If I say at the most, go into the kitchen and get at the most 2 cookies, how many cookies can you get? Can you get 1? Yes. Can you get 2? In this case, you can, because at the most means that's the highest you can go. So the highest I can go is 2, so that's less than or equal to 2. I can do 2, I can do 1, I could do no cookies, which is just sad. If I say go to the kitchen and get no more than 2 cookies, I'm saying the same thing. At the most and no more than means the same thing. Go to the kitchen and get no more than 2 cookies. Well, how many cookies are you going to get? 2. Right? As many as you can, and if you get 2, you're still following the directions. At the least, if I say go to the kitchen and get at least 5 cookies, how many cookies can you get? Can you get 5? Yes. Can you get 4? No. Well, then it's greater than Yeah? Because I can't get less than 5. Can I get equal to 5? Go get at least 5 cookies. If you get 5 cookies, are you following directions? Yes. So it's greater than or equal. At least means that number or bigger, so greater than or equal. Go to the kitchen and get no less than 5 cookies. What does that mean? Well, it means you can get 5 or more. So that would be this one again. So you can see that these words are very similar to each other, but they all mean very slightly different things. All right? And use cookie math when you're doing them. I think they're a lot easier that way. All right. So let's write some equations and inequalities. Just like the lesson before, we're going to use those words sum, difference, product, quotient again. And now they're going to be equality, so they're going to equal something. Okay? The sum, ooh, there's that word from before. That means I'm looking for an and statement. There's my and. What am I adding? 10 and a number. We're going to call that number n. Is a big word for equals, or actually a small word for equals, to 15. So there's my equation. Real simple. Let's try the second one. The difference of 9 and y. Remember, there's that word again, difference. That means I have to write them in order. So it's 9 minus y. When you use that word difference, you have to still write them in the order that they write them. So 9 minus 9, y, not y minus 9, is at least 12. Now, you could scroll up here and see which word says at least, or you could use a little bit of common sense. Let's do cookie math. If I say go to the kitchen and get at least 12 cookies, can you get 12? Yes. Can you get 13? Yes. Can you get 11? No. You have to get at least 12. So I know that it can be greater than 12, but can it be equal to 12? If you get 12 cookies, did you get at least 12 cookies? Yes. So it's greater than or equal. And then you could scroll up here and see if you're right. At least means greater than or equal to. Okay? Good. Let's see the next example, a little bit harder. The product of 10, ooh, there's that word product. So there's my and statement. The product of 10 and a quantity 4 times a number n. So the quantity, you're multiplying 10 and some quantity. What quantity? Well, this whole thing. Okay? So it's the product of 10 times 4 times n is less than 20. Well, that's easy. Less than is just that. Less than 20. Easy. All right. Next problem. 5 less than a number x. So question, is it 5 minus x, or is it x minus 5? Which one's correct? Well, as that lesson before said, 5 less than x. Did you start with x amount or did you start with 5? Well, you started with some amount x. Let's say it's 10. 5 less than 10. So is it 10 minus 5 or 5 minus 10? Well, it's 10 minus 5 because you started with 10, you started with x, and you get 5 less, so it's x minus 5. This one is wrong. Is no more than 15. Okay, so I know 15's over here, but what sign do I use? Well, I could scroll up to the top and just cheat real quick, or I could use common sense. Cookie math once again. Get no more than 15 cookies. Can you get 15 cookies? Yes, you can get 15, so it can be equal to that. Can you get 14 cookies? Is that no more than 15? Yes, so it can be less than that. Less than or equal to 15. And there you have it. Now for our last section, these are actually quite easy. They look intimidating at first. Whatever's after the semicolon is what you're going to put in for x. You're going to put that number in for x, and you're going to tell me if what's written is true or false. So let's do that. Comma 15 means try 15 for x. So we get 15 plus 8 should be equal to 21. Let's see if that's true. What's 15 plus 8? 23. Is 23 equal to 21? No, it's false. Got it? Real simple. Let's try the next one. So whatever's after the semicolon is what we're going to put in for x. Yeah? So 5 plus 3 times 5 should be greater than 20. Well, 3 plus 5, or 3 times 5 is 15, plus 5 is 20. Is 20 greater than 20? No, it's equal to it, and there's no equality here, so this is false again. Excuse my poor handwriting. All right, let's see the next one. We're going to put this number in for z in this case, so we're going to do 4 times 5 minus 15 should be less than or equal to 5. Well, this is 20 minus 15, so this is 5 is less than or equal to 5. Is this one true or false? Well, 5 is not less than 5, but it is equal to 5. 5 is less than or equal to 5. It's equal to 5, so it does work, so this is true. Okay, let's look at the last one. 2 times 3 plus 1 should be greater than or equal to 3 plus 5. Well, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7, so we get 7 is greater than or equal to 8. Is 7 greater than 8? No. Is it equal to 8? No. So this one is false. And there you have it. That's the notes on equations and inequalities. It's not hard. The hard part for all this is right here. You need to make sure you know those words right there. And if you're not sure what those words are, like I said, as stupid as it is, use cookie math, and most people can figure them out. Good luck with these notes.